Welcome. Johnny, I'm just going to say a few words to everybody. Welcome, everybody. We are now in a Invest NI, standing for Invest Northern Ireland, and Indie Füde meeting for Big Cheese Weekender. Invest NI are supporting cheesemakers and cheesemongers in Northern Ireland with Academy of Cheese training and opportunities to take part in events like the Big Cheese Weekender and various other Academy of Cheese events. They're a patron of the Academy of Cheese, and we are entirely grateful to them, because the Academy of Cheese still relies on 50% patronage funding. So that this evening, we've got the team from Indie Füde and Velo Cheese, who are going to talk us through some amazing tastings with the cheeses that these two boys here make. And Laura up the top there is in charge of a lot of the retail. Indie Füde are cheesemongers in Northern Ireland, and they'll tell you a little bit about that. I'm going to disappear, so over to you guys, and enjoy. Have fun.
Thanks very much, Tracy. And a big thank you to the Academy of Cheese for hosting us here live from Belfast tonight. And big thanks also, obviously, to Invest NI, who have really supported us, Davide and myself, through this exciting cheese-making venture. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background to Davide and myself, how we sort of came here to form this partnership, this sort of exciting new cheese-making partnership in Northern Ireland. And then we'll go through the cheeses that we're making here in the Banana Block as part of the Portfuse Trade Centre in East Belfast. It's part of a living museum, which is really interesting. Hence, we have a big, large window behind us where people could come to this facility here in the east and watch Davide and myself make cheese live. At the minute, we're specialising in hand-stretched cheeses, and Davide tonight is going to be sort of stretching live to my left-hand side here, some mozzarella, and sort of we'll talk you through that process. So I'm going to give you first an introduction to Davide Tani. Say hello, Davide. Davide is from Sardinia originally, from Cagliari, and we had the pleasure of going out there a couple of weeks ago to see where it all began. And I'm just going to get Davide to briefly explain where his journey came to making and loving the cheese that he makes.
Hi, thanks, Johnny. I moved here in Northern Ireland about 7 years ago, and as often happens, I was craving my food from Italy, and I noticed a gap in the market. So all mozzarella in Northern Ireland is imported, and all fresh cheese, like mozzarella, they give their best when they are just made. And here in Northern Ireland, the quality of milk is amazing. So I thought that, so I retrained myself. I was already making cheese for home, just for myself, but so I went on the business side and I started to make cheese. And then I met Johnny, and then that's it.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah, we met just briefly prior to lockdown, Davide had come into Indie Füde to meet Laura and myself and let us taste his mozzarella. He had various hurdles to get over with that with regards to developing a facility and getting signed off by environmental health and all those things that were behind it. So we kind of understood that. And at the time, I had a little roving cheese stall where Indie Füde started almost 8 years ago, traveling around Northern Ireland, meeting customers and selling Irish cheeses to them. And Davide said, look, I'd really love to learn a bit more about the Irish cheeses and, and teach you a little bit more about my culture, my heritage, and about the wonderful hand-stretched cheeses that he was beginning to make. So that was kind of it. Lockdown went on. We were allowed to do outdoor markets, and Davide and I worked on these markets and formed that relationship from there. Just prior to lockdown, I had a great passion, wanted to learn about making cheese. So I had been to the Academy of Artisan Food over in Sheffield, or close to Sheffield, outside Worksop, and had begun to learn about principally hard cheeses. And I had a dream someday to get to that point in time where I'd be able to mature maybe my own cheddar, etc. But I was an accountant by trade, and always knew that we needed something probably in the business that represented something good with regards to a cash flow cheese. And there's nothing better than fresh mozzarella to be able to turn over that quickly while also maturing cheeses in the facility next door to us here. So that will be the second phase of our project. But for now, we're really focusing in on the hand-stretched cheeses and getting those to market. So Davide, I think, is going to start his demoing, and I'll sort of talk a little bit through the process of what we do. It begins, we're very lucky here that we've, as Davide said, we've got fantastic milk. Davide also formed a relationship with a local dairy to us, just 4.5 miles up the road in the Castlereagh Hills outside Belfast. And that was all about making Kearney Blue, which will be the last cheese that we'll sample here today. So again, that's another part of this overall partnership that we've come to work on. Davide was asked 2 years ago to go up there and learn, or to be the head cheesemaker at Kearney Blue, which he's still doing to this day. And that gave us a link into Farmview Dairies, their facilities, all the history of where they came from, their wonderful cattle, and also that ability to use their facilities and laboratory to start to begin to try to make our own cheese. And that's at the minute where we go sort of every Tuesday and Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. There's the guys up there have a very large vat that they've been using since 2008 to make Kearney Blue, which is in fact Northern Ireland's oldest artisan cheese, a fantastic cheese, and we'll speak a bit more on the sort of the qualities of that particular cheese later on. But it's formed a great relationship for us. So we're able to cook the milk, begin that process at 4 o'clock in the morning. The milk comes in from Farmview. It's Holstein Friesian cattle, really, really good quality, lovely protein fat ratio, and it just makes wonderful cheese all around. There's what you will notice with the mozzarella specifically is a lovely yellow hue. Obviously that butter fat content is higher here with the grass-fed cattle, and say particularly that you would see then in Italy, where a lot of the cattle are feeding on hay or drier pasture. And it was something very noticeable when I went out to visit Davide a couple of weeks ago in Sardinia. So really what you're getting with this mozzarella is ultimate freshness, because it's coming from, as I said, from the morning milk, and then coming right to the customer the next day. It hasn't traveled halfway across Europe. So we're really trying to exploit that freshness of our product here in Northern Ireland and get it out to our customers locally here, and also in Ireland and the UK as well. As I said, the facilities we have are absolutely fantastic, and we cook the milk there and then bring down here to Portview and Banana Block, where Davide hand stretches the cheese, and his muscles have grown considerably over the last 6 months. as we've begun this journey, and the demand has been fantastic. Actually, I suppose timing can be everything for some businesses. So when we did take over this unit, it was actually about a year ago, but we've had to fit it out basically from a blank shell. And again, very lucky to have Davide's skill set there. He's an electrical engineer by trade before he went into the cheese business. So we've been able to actually fit the lab out to our own spec and using Davide's skill set there too. So that's been great for us. And as I said, 6 months ago, we began the process of making the cheeses. The cheeses themselves are, we think wonderful quality, and we're going to begin doing a little bit of tasting of each of them now, beginning with the lightest, the stracciatella. I'm going to get Davide just to briefly explain what the stracciatella is, and then I'll talk about the pairing after that.
Yes, so stracciatella came from the verb stracciata, means shredded. So fundamentally, is a shredded mozzarella in salted cream, slightly salted cream. That is so the same pasta of mozzarella, you make fine kind of lasagna, and then you shred. It's a cathartic job, so you stretch in very fine little thread, and then you put in the cream. That gave the creamiest and one of the most famous fresh cheese is burrata now, and I believe that the famousness of the burrata is because the core of burrata is stracciatella.
Yeah, look, it's a brilliant product. Davide has even had we've had to reform the name a little bit here in Northern Ireland to get people used to. We call it naked burrata, and as Davide was saying, the inside of the burrata, as a lot of people just weren't familiar with the name stracciatella, they associated that with things like ice cream, which wasn't what we were looking for. So we sort of rebranded it in a way, but the chefs are really beginning to take it on, especially a lot of the pizzerias, pizza guys, finishing their pizzas off with just the stracciatella on the top. But it's a fantastic product, as you can taste. The quality of the cream, which is again from Farm View, and obviously Davide's hand-shredded mozzarella that goes through it. The pairing that we've done with that is with Burn Balsamics, which are a company based in Armagh that specialise in balsamic products. And this is from their white balsamic pearls that have been flavoured with citrus. And I think it really beautifully offsets that richness and creaminess that you get with the stracciatella, and the little pearls just sort of pop in your mouth. So I hope you really enjoy that one. It's been a really nice start to the tasting. Next, we're going to go on to the core mozzarella ball. Our balls come in 125 gram sizes, and as I say, Davide that's what he's doing at the minute. He's hand stretching them. As I mentioned earlier on, it does have that, I think, lovely butteriness finish to it that you don't usually associate with imported mozzarella. It's just got that extra bit of flavour, as I said, from the grass-fed pastures that the cows are on. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Davide, do you want to talk us through a little bit about what you're doing there and the process with the pearls?
So mozzarella is, the name of mozzarella is a processed cheese. So when you card the milk, you start to have a card that is this one. Then if you press in a mold, and then you become mature cheese. But what we do, we put the card in this bucket and add in the hot water, boiling water. And what does, like the cheese in the oven, they start to stretch. So when they stretch, all the casein molecules, they start to go in only one direction, and that helps the cheese to be very stretchy. And then after, you just make a ball by hand, and you cut with your hands with your finger. That's why it's called mozzarella, because it means mozzata means cut. Like, and then you put in cold water to cool down.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to taste mozzarella hot, like Davide is doing it now, and it's a lot of pressure actually on his hands. It's boiling hot water, so he's constantly dipping his hands in cold water to try and ease the pain a little bit. But if you get to taste warm mozzarella, just fresh, made like this, it's a different quality. So whenever we are trying to sell to the consumer, particularly restaurants and pizzerias, we always bring the chefs here to taste Davide's live mozzarella when it's hot, because once they try that, you've got them hands down. So I hope you really enjoyed that. We paired that with a simple fig and onion chutney by a friend of ours, Kay Armstrong. Kay's literally based about 2 miles up the road from us here in East Belfast. He's a fantastic producer of jam and chutney and all those good things that are nice to pair with cheese. And figs and mozzarella, again, on those sort of summer salads are always a nice match made in heaven. So I hope you enjoyed the sweetness of the figs with that buttery mozzarella that Davide's produced for us. On to cheese number 3, which is our smoked scamorza. I'll let Davide explain a little bit about scamorza and how he smokes it.
Smoked scamorza is, like I said, the cousin of mozzarella. So you can leave fresh or you can leave to mature for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then when they lose a bit of water, we cold smoke with maple wood. And that gives this hint, quite subtle of smoking. It's not overpowering smoking. So I think it's, I quite like it.
It's beautiful, and it's been so well received actually in our local market here, both as an eating cheese and also for, again, as I said, the pizzerias. Again, we did, as Davide said, we didn't want to over smoke it, overpower it, just keep it very supple. And I hope you're getting that lovely supple smoky flavor. But pairing that then with the Summerhill apple blossom honey, which comes from, again, a guy, Fred Warden, who's from Newtownards, which is about 5 or 6 miles away from us, but he actually takes his bees down to the orchards, the apple orchards in County Armagh, and lets them feed and do all their wonderful things, and produces this fantastic honey. And again, I love the way that the sweetness of the honey and the slight ting of the apple offsets the smoke of the smorza. So I hope you enjoy that one, folks. On the cheese 4, our final one, and we're on the Kearney Blue. I'm going to let Davide explain a little bit about his journey in the Kearney Blue that I touched on earlier, and also a little bit about the cheese.
Yes, the common point with Kearney Blue that we were using the same milk, and Paul, the cheesemaker that developed the recipe of Kearney Blue, they want to retire it because we are still making in a very artisan way, and it's quite physically demanding. And so that started my journey. Of course, I love cheese, and that's why I started this trip. And I was very happy to take this heritage of Kearney Blue.
It's a very, I think it's a beautiful cheese. As I said, it's Northern Ireland's oldest artisan cheese. We believe only going back the guts of 15 years when Paul started the business in County Down, and then moved up to Farmview Dairies when the cheese business grew. It's very suitable for the market here. It's got that lovely give. It's not too heavily spiced. It's won 3 gold stars in the Great Taste Awards. It's been entered into the World Cheese Awards this year. And also we've had a little bit of a play around with it, whereby Davide has been tampering with some local ales. We're very fortunate here on the road in East Belfast to have 2 wonderful breweries, Boundary and Bullhouse breweries, and Davide has introduced a little bit of nitro stout to the Kearney Blue and soaked it for around 2 weeks. And we've called that Little Blue Bull. And it's given a lovely tinge piquancy to the Kearney Blue. And the feedback again has been fantastic. So we're hoping to bring some of those out for Christmas time. And as I said, enter into the World Cheese Awards in Wales in a couple of weeks' time. So hope it does well. We've paired the Kearney with what we have, it's an Indie Füde branded chutney this time. Again, we put this together with the help of burn balsamics, our citrus powder guys at the start. And this is an everyday chutney. It's got a little bit of ginger, golden raisin, and pear. It's been a big hit for us. And again, very, very fortunate to get a Great Taste Award for it earlier in the year. So I'm going to just taste it and see it. That's lovely, Davide. I must give you a bit. So, yeah, it goes really, really well. To be honest with you, Laura is our chief pair. She's fantastic. Well, she's a fantastic cook, but also great at pairing cheeses with different combinations, whether it be spices or salts or chutneys, jams, marmalades. So she's come up with these pairings tonight. I must admit, I think they're all absolutely fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed that journey sort of through the cheeses, and a little bit of background to Davide's journey and how myself and himself came about. And I'm going to, I guess, throw it open to some questions from the audience, which I'm getting sort of pinged through at the minute. So I'm going to go through those and hopefully get to answer everything for you guys. Are soft cheeses like mozzarella more approachable to the Irish consumer compared to, say, the harder cheeses or blue cheeses of Ireland? Are they an easier sell? I guess when I started this journey 8 years ago with that Roman cheese stall, it was very much about cheese education. A lot of people were just very familiar with cheddar, brie, maybe Gouda, maybe they have, started to travel and experience a little bit more. But it was, as I said, very much in the cheese in its infancy. So actually producing something like a mozzarella here, and I can sort of testify to that from the cheese stall and the cheese shop at Indie Füde. It is a little bit more difficult sell. People automatically think mozzarella is just for summer, but it's not. It's obviously for all year. But that's why we try and have these sort of diverse range of products as well. So it's really just getting the Irish consumer used to this wonderful product that's on their doorstep and made so fresh, and giving them, recipe ideas and all those things. It's not just for pizza. You can obviously make wonderful salads and lasagna and other bits as well. Yeah, fantastic pasta. Davide himself, I get spoiled down here. He would cook very regularly, and we have wonderful meals together. And it's again, we both come together with some different ideas on how to use the cheeses, and I think that's really important and part of the experience that we hope to give people who come here to Banana Block, to be able not only to show them the cheese but just talk food in general and sort of share that passion about where we're going with this journey. I think I touched on it earlier on. We do hope to play around with other cheeses in time, more mature cheeses that might be say more particular, like a cheddar, for example, for the Irish market. But for now, it's just about producing these wonderful hand-stretched cheeses. And okay, I think 95% of our customer base is pizzerias, but they're kind of, I'm going to call them high-end pizzerias. The one benefit of lockdown was a lot of people started to get their little uni ovens and make their own dough and cook in their backyard with their family, their friends, and probably MPs as well. But yeah, different, and enjoy that aspect of cooking again. And so everybody's really raising the bar when it comes to their ingredients that they're putting on their pizza. They won't just satisfy for a Lidl branded or Asda branded mozzarella. They're really enjoying the fact they can get an artisan cheese made freshly here in Northern Ireland. So as soon as we kind of launched it onto the market, and I guess with the Indie Füde name and influence sort of coming through me working with the cheese stall and restaurants and chefs over the years, people's ears pricked up, and a lot of people have come on board. As I said, demand has exceeded our ability and probably exceeded Davide's strength, and it's very, very physical work, as you could guess when you see him stretch like that. So yeah, it's, as I said, been mainly these high-end pizzerias, but it's fascinating to see these characters who have traveled the world and researched recipes and are now producing these wonderful high-end pizzas. So that's that. Question for Davide. As a Sardinian in Northern Ireland, is there an awareness of the cheese from the island of Ireland in Italy and Sardinia? Do you think there's potential for growing market to export Irish cheeses to Italy?
That's a very good question. I think Italy loves cheese. So if it's a good quality cheese, yes, I'm pretty sure they can. They will eat cheese. It's like wine. Italy, you produce wine, now we eat French wine, Australian wine, Chile from Chile. So yes, I'm pretty sure they will be.
Yeah, and Sardinia, it's mainly, I'm going to say, pecorino.
Yes, in Sardinia we produce a lot of pecorino.
Yeah, and as I said, we were out a couple of weeks ago and went to a local mozzarella shop in Cagliari, and it was fascinating. It was just like a bakery. People were just popping in as they made fresh on the premises and got that lovely warm mozzarella, the fresh stracciatella, wonderful burratas, stuffed with pistachio, stuffed with gorgonzola. It was a real eye opener. You also saw lovely roulades. They sort of thinned out the mozzarella and rolled it up then with lovely Parma ham or smoked salmon. So again, something we can definitely learn from visits like that.
Low carb snack.
Low carb snack, absolutely, yeah. And you've seen, I think it's in Naples, they've got like a sandwich shop that is exclusively with, it's mozzarella instead of bread. So yes, it's into the sort of the trend of low carb. So I think it's a great inspiration, as I say, traveling to different places, but it'd be wonderful to take, Irish cheeses out around the world. Like I've been fortunate enough to be at the World Cheese Awards in different parts of Europe over the years, and it's amazing the feedback you get from respective judges who can't praise high enough Irish cheeses, but they're definitely under a bushel, but it's part of our job to bring
our
them
second
out.
phase, yes. Our second phase is make the cheese to export.
Thanks to Patrick and Russell for that question. And one from Patrick McGuigan. What's the temperature of the water for stretching?
A scorching 90 degrees Celsius.
So very hard on Davide's.
Fundamentally boiling, yes.
Yeah.
Just boiling and you put in the water. That's why I've got always cold water beside, because when they become too hot, I put cold water.
Yeah.
To cool down my hands.
You should see Davide's hands. They're like,
yes,
they're like boulders. So we have to get XXL large gloves just for him to fit into them, because it is punishing on the hands. And I'm glad that he does that piece. Will workshops be coming up? Simple answer is yes.
Absolutely.
We hope to have them live early in the new year, probably limited to 6 people here in the lab. We'll probably do those on Saturday afternoons. So I guess, keep your eyes peeled to social media for those. Is it common to add flavors to cheese, such as the stout?
Well, I think cheese is part of life, and life is an experience. So I take whatever there is around me and I play with. And now we have a relationship with the Bull House that make a lovely beer. And I thought that as you can make in Italy, they make a drunken cheese that they put in wine. I said, why not try it with beers? So that's what I did.
And trust me, it is fantastic, the feedback that we've had on it. And you're a little bit surprised when it comes out so good, sort of first time around. But yeah, it's definitely one to look out for. And again, I'm quite a purist. I do enjoy to eat and enjoy cheeses in their natural state, even sometimes without chutneys, honeys. But look, it's fun, and cheese is fun. Myself and Davide talk recipes and what we can do nearly every day. I remember just a couple of months ago bringing in he made a wild garlic pesto and put that in the burrata. And yeah, it's fascinating. But I also said, when we were in Sardinia, we saw the pistachio filled burrata, the gorgonzola filled, and also the roulades as well. So yeah, it happens all over the place, and it's fun to try different things, different pairings. I think that's all our questions that have come through, and we're just about to close off, but it's coming up to 8 o'clock. Oh, sorry, there's one more coming through. Must be from my mum. When are you coming home? What is your favorite cheese, Davide?
I've got 2 cheeses. One is fresh cheese, and I like stracciatella on the fresh cheese. And as a hard cheese, I have to say Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh, he's dead biased because he's Italian.
I know,
for me, I love, Kearney Blue. I love my blue cheeses. I love Young Buck. Mike Thompson produces that fantastic cheese here. It's a raw milk Stilton style. Definitely try that. And I love Ballylisk. They're down in Armagh. They're producing a triple cream brie and also a single cream brie. And you've got to try that too. So I'm a bit biased towards the Northern Ireland cheeses, but they're very, very good.
Very good.
Yes. That's 8 o'clock, guys. I'd like to thank from both Davide and myself. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to thank the Academy of Cheese, Tracy, Patrick, and all the gang. Wish you well and have a great weekend. And hope you enjoy the cheese. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Big thank you to you boys. That was amazing. Thank you so much. It was really, really good. And some delicious, really unusual combinations there. We look forward to seeing you on Academy of Cheese Level 2 course coming soon. Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining. Bye.
For joining. Bye.
Big Cheese Weekender.